So I'll now hand over to Sian to take you through her presentation. Sian, over to you.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you everybody for joining me this afternoon. I know we're all really busy, so I do really appreciate everybody taking the time. As Chris said, my name's Sian Mousley, and I'm the Sales and Marketing Manager for the Enasoit Collection. The Enasoit Collection consists of two properties, Enasoit Camp up in Laikipia and Tusitiri Dhow, which is situated in Lamu. And I think the most important thing to remember about the Enasoit Collection is that they are both family owned and loved property, family homes, which really does mean that any guest that comes to join us at either property really does have that feeling of intimacy and exclusivity, because both properties are only booked on an exclusive basis. So you really do get to experience a family home that really is the most really do offer the most incredible experiences. So if I start with Enasoit Camp, which, as I said, is up in Laikipia, access to Enasoit is either by private charter into our own airstrip, which is roughly a 45-minute flight from Nairobi, or you can schedule into Nyanyuki airstrip, and then it's approximately a 1 hour and 15-minute, 1 hour 20-minute drive into Enasoit. We can comfortably host 16 guests, but the configuration and the amount of clients in each group, we can go up to 20. So if you've got some children or if you've got adults that are willing to triple up or double up, then we can be flexible on the amount of people that we can host. So that's always worth bearing in mind. If you've got a larger group, just make sure you ask us, and if we can make a plan comfortably for everybody, we always will. Enasoit and life at Enasoit revolves around the Enasoit mess tent and our famous watering hole. We do have the most incredible watering hole at Enasoit, and it really is the center of camp life. So down at Enasoit main camp is our mess tent and our watering hole. And on either side of the watering hole, we have 6 double, depending on the configuration, cottages. So 3 on either side. Worth noting that all of them have exactly the same view of the watering hole, so nobody's getting a better view than anybody else. And all are roughly the same, so there's no superior rooms or rooms that are less sort of fancy, if you like. They are all basically the same. The only thing that changes is the bed configuration in each. All have a fireplace, a sitting area, a beautiful veranda, all having that incredible view and perfect for your morning tea, and lovely bathrooms at the back as well. A 5-minute drive from the main Enasoit camp, we have what we call the Enasoit pool house. The pool house is great because not only does it give guests flexibility on where they spend their time and where they choose to eat their meals, so they can have breakfasts or lunch up at the pool. It also does provide 2 extra rooms, which is where we would put the extras that came in if you were making a bigger group of up to 20. We've got a beautiful family room at the pool house and a really nice double room. The pool house also has its own fully functioning kitchen, its own mess tent or thatched cottage, which has a sitting room and a beautiful dining room table as well. So it does really provide, especially if you've got a larger group and everybody's getting a bit sick of each other, there is always somewhere for people to go where they're not feeling crowded and they can get away from it all. Like I was saying earlier, Enasoit really is famous for its watering hole, and that is why a lot of our repeat clients come back to us time and time again. We act as a natural wildlife corridor between Old Jogi and the Lloydigers. So Enasoit itself is 5,000 acres, but with the Lloydigers next door, which is 45,000 acres, we've got a combined 50,000 acres that Enasoit guests can enjoy and drive on. In that 50,000 acres, you really do see everything. The only thing that we don't have, and also worth noting, is that we don't have rhino, but it's not a long drive down to Old Pejeta, and guests often go down there with a picnic lunch, and they can see rhinos to their heart content down on Old Pejeta. So you really do, if you come and stay with us, you will see everything. Just rhinos is a bit of a drive down to Old Pej to see those. In terms of activities on Enasoit, we really do have something for everyone. We've got the normal guided walks and game drives. We also track resident lions. We do the most incredible bush dinners in the monkey caves, in the baboon caves, where we light up all the walls with tilly lamps. We do horse riding. We've got horses on Enasoit. We've got a huge variety of bird life. We've got ancient rock sites, and we have a resident masseuse who can give massages and spa treatments. And then as additional extras, we can organize helicopter flights up to Mount Kenya or further north. And something that we're really proud of is that we've developed something called the Thinking Man Safari, where we bring to Enasoit guest speakers. So what we try and do in advance is try and work with our clients or work with the DMCs that are handling clients and really find out about what clients are interested in, and if and where possible, and if clients are interested, we try and bring speakers on to cover those interests that they have. So it can be anything from rhinos and elephants to art to politics. If somebody's interested in a particular topic, we really do try and bring people on to help explore that with our guests. Enasoit is hosted by Pete and Karen Glover, who have actually lived at Enasoit and brought up their two children, Jake and Jodie, on Enasoit for the last 17 years. So they really do know everything there is to know about the area. Carrie's a fantastic cook. Pete's a fantastic walking guide. And together they really do make the most incredible team. They're both, as you probably can imagine, having two children, great with children. So if you've got family groups with small children, Carrie takes them off and they bake biscuits in the kitchen, and Pete will take them fishing in the dams. So they really are a huge asset to us, and make sure that nobody ever goes hungry and nobody's ever bored. So those are our hosts at Enasoit. I just wanted to talk briefly and very briefly through our rates for 2019, just because we're changing them slightly. We've always had a minimum rate of up to 6 adults at Enasoit. And in 2019, we're introducing a minimum rate for up to 4 adults in our regular season, which is off season. And we're hoping by doing this, we'll encourage smaller family groups or groups that don't necessarily have the budget to travel in high season to come and visit us, and so that nobody feels they can't ever come and see Enasoit. So we're really hoping by lowering our minimum and regular season, we'll see some smaller groups come in to see us. The second part of the Enasoit collection is beautiful Tusitiri Dhow down in Lamu. Tusitiri has the most incredible story behind it. It was found by the owners abandoned on the beach about 30 years ago, and it's been lovingly restored by Lamu craftsmen into the most incredible working dhow on the coast. It really is the most unique and unusual accommodation that I've ever seen or I've ever heard of. It's really important when selling Tusitiri to just bear in mind that it is for a more adventurous client. For example, I often request coming in saying, can they book a room on Tusitiri? You don't book a room at Enasoit or Tusitiri. A, it's taken on exclusive use, and B, there are no rooms on Tusitiri. It is life on deck, and that's how our clients live. So it's just worth bearing in mind that if you are looking at Tusitiri, you've got to make sure that your clients are up for a bit of an adventure. To get to Tusitiri is your normal 1 hour, well, I guess it's a 1 hour 40 flight from Nairobi. If you're scheduling, then there's always that stop in Malindi. So by the time you get to Lamu, it's about 1 hour and 40 minutes. And you can charter or go on a schedule. As I was saying earlier, you can see from this picture that life on board Tusitiri really is quite unusual. During the day, Tusitiri has beautiful day beds and a lovely dining room table, and people can come and go as they please. People can sunbathe on the roof that you can see there. And by night, the whole of Tusitiri is sort of transformed into a decadent living situation with roll down beds, with Egyptian cotton sheets. And down below deck, you've got a beautiful flush toilet, a dressing area with wash basins, and a dressing room at the back. And on board, lovely hot shower. So I would definitely describe Tusitiri as glamping. You've got amazing food, seafood caught fresh daily by yourselves or by our fishermen that's cooked, amazing wine, and very, very, very comfortable accommodation. It's just not for everybody. It's definitely for the more adventurous. So I guess that's my main point to anybody that's looking at booking Tusitiri, is just make sure that the right clients come to stay with us. In terms of activities on Tusitiri, there really is no end of things that you can do. You can snorkel, we've got kayaks, you can go deep sea fishing, there's water skiing. Obviously, with Shella and Lamu being World Heritage sites, the history involved in the area is endless. Or you can just simply enjoy the boat and hang out on deck. Sunbathe on beaches that we find and swim in the sea. There really is never a dull moment. You can be as active or as inactive as you like, is what I like to tell people. Your hosts on Tusitiri are Mia and Kirsty Midgie. Mia was born in Lamu and brought up there, so he again, like Pete and Karen Glover at Enasoit, the area like the back of his hand. He's filled with the most incredible stories and the most amazing local knowledge. So he really does bring a different dimension to all our safaris. And his wife, Kirsty, who moved from the UK 10 years ago to be with him, is a great cook. They've both got 2 small children. So again, they're incredible with kids. And together they work with our
Sean, it appears that we've lost your audio. I'm not sure whether you can still hear us.
crew. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, you're back now.
Sorry, where did I get to before you lost me?
Just on the end of the Dhow, just before you flicked on to the next slide.
Okay, great. I'll pick up from there. I might just recap it. As I was saying, I don't know if you could hear me. Mia and Kirsty Midgie are our hosts on board Tusitiri, and Mia is from Lamu, and so really does have the most incredible local knowledge on the area, and he's filled with the most amazing stories. So guests really do enjoy sitting and chatting to him in the evenings, and him and his wife Kirsty, who moved from the UK to be with Mia 10 years ago, both have 2 children, and so they're incredible with kids as well. And they work with the crew of Tusitiri, which is 8 sailors, and each of those sailors have been sailing for generations. So you really are in safe, good hands with Mia and Kirsty and the crew. And then I was just going to talk a little bit about our rates and the fact that they do work quite like Enasoit in terms of we operate on a minimum group size of 6, and then you add additional adults if the group goes above that. The maximum that we would feel comfortable on hosting on Tusitiri would probably be 8, 10 if you've got some children in that number. But considering you're all sleeping on deck and things are, space is an issue, I would personally say 8 people would be a good number for Tusitiri. And you can also combine Tusitiri with a house in Lamu or a house in Shella and just do an overnight. And if you've got clients that are staying in a house or at Poponi's or Manda Bay, Tusitiri is available for just an overnight trip or for lunches, dinners, and sundowners. So even if you've got clients that maybe not as adventurous so they can stay on board, they can at least come on board and have dinner or lunch with us. And that, I think, brings me to 20 minutes. So if anybody has any questions, then I'll take those now.
Great, thank you very much, Sean. I mean, fascinating presentation and wonderful property, and the Tusitiri looks up. If anyone does have any questions for Sean,
I lost you for a minute there.
I was just saying, absolutely fantastic product. Looks stunning.
Yeah, it really is. They are both.
If anyone does have any questions, please type these into the chat box and I will address these to Sean now.
Well, maybe I've answered everything.
Looking like it, yes. Sean's contact details are on the screen, so if you do need to contact her, please pop her an email. But as I said at the beginning, the copy of the recording will be distributed to everyone who has registered and attended. So unless there are any questions, I can see someone typing away something, so I'll just hold on. Okay, questions come through. Why are you open from 15th of September to the 15th of April only?
I'm assuming that's for Tusitiri, and that is purely because of the seasons and the winds, basically. Because Tusitiri is obviously an open boat, we can't guarantee the weather at certain times of the year. So say we say our season is from the 15th of September to the 15th of April. We have taken bookings at other times in the year, but I think that we'd like to work these on a request only basis. Did have a client that was interested in, say, late August, so it's not quite September, or the end of April, so it's not quite, we will consider bookings in those areas, but it's purely a weather point of view and a wind point of view because we are an open air.
Great, thank you very much for that, Sean. Unless there are any other questions, I will wrap things up here. So, Sean, thank you very much for a fantastic presentation. Much appreciated. And thank you very much for everyone who has listened and attended. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.